Yo, what's up, everybody? What's going on, No Niche? This is like some random live, and this is obviously going to be like a low budget type of 1080. I don't have my camera set up and I like this. I just got my shotgun mic, but I want to see and make sure that I'm on. I can have. I don't know. I'll make sure my audio is good. Let me see if I got the notification. Oh yeah, I got the notification. Let's see. Oh wow, it sounds good. It sounds good. It sounds good. So yeah, y'all. I know it's about almost 11 o'clock, like the hours before um, Sunday morning. But I wanted to, just sort of talk about real quick how value is much better than production. So just to get right to it, because I'm still trying to get used to going back live, and I don't have no fancy lighting and stuff like that. You're gonna see like a lot of the shutter because I'm off the computer camera. I decided to just go on. I don't be counting random like that because it's no niche. You feel me? And sometimes it's just good to talk, even when nobody's listening, because somebody's gonna hear about it sooner or later. Like I said, I'm just shot over 500 subscribers, which is cool. I'm not too sure if anybody's looking tonight, but at the same time, I see one. That's good. Yeah, and when you don't go on often, you don't give people the chance to get a chance to know you. So, not too long ago, I went on live, and if you didn't see the live, go on under the live section, press onto that, and I have this thumbnail called "Start." Oh my god, it was kind of crazy because um, I tried to create a thumbnail, right live, right here on YouTube, and I did that, which was good. And although it was sort of went slow on me because of I don't know, my Wi-Fi was kind of crazy. We still did it. We still pulled through. But go and take a look at it. And I encourage everybody to start a YouTube channel. You know, and this channel is called No Niche. Which means I want to talk about anything that I want. I'm not against the algorithm. I'm not against YouTube and all its rules. But I do believe that if you allow for somebody to fall in love with your personality and what you do, and sort of get right to the point, yo, it's cool. I like to have long form content because I think that the platform of YouTube is created for long term content. You feel me? So as you can see, my title, value is better than production. Let me tell you exactly what I mean. So, like I said, I started a YouTube channel. I started a topic on my live, and it was under the topic "Start a YouTube Channel Already." Laugh out loud. On that, I was talking about how there are so many people who talk about value. They talk about the kind of equipment that they need. You don't need the best equipment. All you need is something decent. You got a phone, use it. You feel what I'm saying? If you have a external audio, yo, use that. I'm using this external audio. Oh man, I hope it's not falling apart. But I got the Rode Go 2, and they have more advanced, audio now, you know, which is more than the Rode Go 2s. But they've been doing really good for me, So I figured I'll just use that, and I connected it to a shotgun mic, It's a Rode shotgun mic. I got to find out exactly what version this is. Shout out to Rode, although you're not really sponsoring me yet. Hopefully I'll get you to sponsor me on some other channel that I have, maybe Manifested List Podcast, whatever it gets to be. But I got that connected, and it's sort of like I have everything connected to its own wire right now, so I can have the power, continually going and stuff like that. Other than that, it would be wireless, good stuff. And again, I don't have my Logitech camera connected to my computer. I'm just out the computers, you know. Sometimes at the end of the day, you have to go with what it is that you have. I didn't feel like connecting all this stuff up. You feel me? Besides, it's no niche. I don't have a haircut right now. I got no fancy nothing. I'm just here to talk to you. And so again, I feel like no niche is a niche within itself, really tell you the truth, But I want y'all to understand you don't need anything fancy, y'all. You feel me? If you have more value, I think it's more better than production. So I'm doing a no niche right now, doing everything that I want to do to see how far I can get. And right now, I've gotten over 500 subscribers. Last year this time, I had claimed that I'll be over 1,000 subscribers by December. That was last December, 2024. But I wasn't on here, more often than I wanted to be. I thought that this would be like a behind the scenes channel of what it is that I do. Not that you have to care about me or care about anything that I do, but I do believe that somewhere along the line, this will become a value of somebody as the algorithm change, because I do believe that the algorithm is going back to the way it used to be to some degree, although now it's changed its views as to where subscribers don't matter anymore, views don't even really matter anymore. It's now watch time that matter, and that the people are looking at your content all the way through. And do me a favor, if you are actually on and I can't see you, do me a favor, just shout me out of where you're coming in from, because I do see a couple of people that's in and watching. What's up, y'all? We're out in New York, Brooklyn, New York, and I'm up here before 12 o'clock. And I felt that I need to just go up on here because I wanted to, because I can. It's no niche, So again, like I said, it's a no niche. And I think no niche is a niche within itself, or niche within itself, because we're talking about anything that we want to talk about. And I do believe, like I said, without having an ego, if you have people to fall in love with you and your personality, and to show how much charisma you have, it's not really about without an ego, right? It's good for people to just fall in love with who you are, what you talk about. And even if it's different topics, I do believe that you can find an audience that will love you, enough to say anything that you talk about, I'm going to follow you. But you have to do it without a big head, but you have to be confident enough to know that you can draw an audience, right? And I want you to understand that even though you might not have the best equipment, let's say you are only on your phone without an external mic, listen, just have a background, if you can use the ceiling light, use the ceiling light, and just sit even in a corner where you have some depth, or have like a yellow background or yellow something, or blue background or black background with a white shirt, Nobody really wear a white shirt over a yellow background, but I will. You know why? Because as a cinematographer, I realized that I have black in my seat, which will bring out the contrast to the yellow. See, bars. Come on, y'all, But again, you don't have to be fancy schmancy anyway to do this. You feel me? So at the end of the day, nobody really care about your equipment. Nobody care about the kind of equipment. Sometimes people feel, oh, I'm going to go and buy the best camera. I'm going to buy the best mic. I'm going to get the best lighting. And now people should hear me and hear ye because of what I have. Nobody care about that. I don't care if you're sitting on a crate, you know what I'm saying? And you have a wooden background with a broken window in the background. That might be more interesting than what it is that I have. People might not care as long as it's a part of you and you are sharing value. There's a person, shout out to my boy Sean Cannell, Rhymes with Channel, and the entire Think Media, family. They follow specific people who don't have, the best fancy anything, but they're bringing value, and that's my next point. Value is more important than your equipment anyway. But most importantly than that, how you deliver that value is something that's much more better than production. If how you deliver it in a way that even the young people could understand it, no matter what it is that you talk about, like tonight, I'm just talking about value. How you deliver value and the kind of content that you give will determine the kind of people that you do have. I'm only talking to people who feel I'm scared of YouTube. My dude, my lady, listen, who cares about what people think? Because as soon as you stop caring about what people think and you could be yourself without being disrespectful, without having an ego, I'm sure the longer you present or the longer you have a production, somebody's going to catch on, to no niche or to your niche. And shout out to everybody who do have a niche, because if you do have a niche, people will follow you because of what it is that they need from you, and that's what's so good about it. Value is better than production. You think you need a fancy camera, a fancy light, saying some type of, microphone, as long as it's decent and as long as you have personality, and as long as you have some type of bullet, list that you can go by. Like right now, I have a bullet list, and like I told you from the beginning, I I talked about starting a YouTube channel. Why not? Start it. You feel me? I talked about a niche is a niche within itself. No niche, a niche. I talked about, let's see how far we can get. Sometimes you have to step out and have courage and see how far you can get in a lane that nobody have ever created. And that's to my next point. Beside your personality, beside you having charisma, beside you having the bullet points and something that you want to talk about, how about step out on courage and create a lane nobody have created? Like, I don't know. And let me tell you, I looked up on YouTube, no niche channels. You know what I got? People who talked about not having a niche, but nobody have a no niche channel, because I'm creating a lane and I have courage enough, whether people like it or not. I don't care. If you follow me, I know it's going to be of value to somebody somewhere, along the line. And sometimes you have to create when nobody's looking and nobody's listening. I don't have no lighting on my face. You know what I'm saying? You can see the glare of my computer and my glasses. You feel me? I have a white shirt, a do-rag on, and I'm not a thug, but all I do know is that somebody along the line is going to hear this and they're going to be like, you know what? That's right. This dude is right. Let me just press record, because whether you know it or not, I'm going to tell you the truth. YouTube can sometimes be overwhelming with all these rules, right? But how about you create a lane that says, who cares about the rules? I'm going to be me. I don't care about what nobody think. I don't care about what nobody feel. This is the reason why it's called YouTube, your tube. You do whatever you want. And I believe that anything that you are consistent in, somebody's going to grasp onto it and say, yo, not only did he talk about this, but he talked about his friend being fired. I know somebody who's been fired. Not only that, but he talked about somebody, who's been abused in the workplace, because somebody's been abused in the workplace. Then he talked about, I don't care, because you don't have to care about what anybody think. Just be yourself. Think about the person you want to talk to, at least for this particular video, right? Talk to that individual. And I guarantee you'll be talking to a lot of individuals, even if they're not live with you. Somebody's going to look at the replay and see, well, let me see what he's talking about live. Let me see what she's talking about live. And then on top of that, let's say you wanted to niche down. I'm not against you. Niche down. Do something you want to do, right? Say something you think that you can talk about 10,000 times, 10 different ways. That would be the same thing, because you might have people who might need your specialty in that area. Yo, if you are somebody who niche or knit, right? Talk about that. Somebody who cook, talk about that. Somebody who sing, talk about that. Online course, talk about that. Clothes, talk about that. You got 10,000 things. And watch this. Even if there's somebody who talk about the stuff that you want to talk about, or they're in that right now, don't compare your beginning stages to a person's middle. They're not going to deliver the way you deliver. They're not going to be who you are. That's the reason why. You ever heard a person, I love reggae music. And the reason why I love it is because they may have one song or one beat, right? And you got 10,000 different artists on that one beat. And people will still buy that artist song, because can't nobody deliver the way you deliver. You know what I mean? So listen, the value you bring is better than the production you have. So there's no excuse. Do me a favor, go on my live and look at Start. I talk about this on all of my channels. It's Life Podcast. I talk about it on It's All You TV. I talk about it on Manifested Thoughts Podcast, MTP. I talk about it. Well, I haven't talked about it yet on DF Films, but that's not the niche for that. So yo, stop being afraid. Stop being a scaredy cat. Show your face. You feel me? I don't have a haircut. Yo, I got these glasses from CVS. Stop playing, champ. Show your face. And don't be scared. Show who you are. That's why it's called YouTube. Now, you might not need a face. Maybe you might want to create a faceless, right? Okay, but study on how to do that, and at least have something to say. Don't be up here rambling, because people don't care about you rambling. You might say, but Donald, you're rambling now. No, I'm talking and sticking to the subject. Value you bring is better than your production. I'm talking about the people who could bring value more than production. I'm talking about those are the people who are afraid to show their face. Look, I ain't got no haircut. I got a do-rag on, man. Sis, I ain't got none of that. The value you bring will be better. So don't be a scaredy cat. Show your face and start your channel. Talk about something you love over something that you like. Because no matter what topic you pick, out of the topics that you love, will be the topic that you enjoy talking about, even if you don't get paid for it, you know? And then I hear people who say to me, well, yo, I don't want to use YouTube to be paid and this, that, and the other. Yo, if the value you're bringing is helping somebody else that will pay you for your point of view, your YouTube, your tube, why not? Because you're fast forwarding people into a place that they probably felt that they could never reach. You know, you probably have gone to school for the topic that you're talking about. Now you're helping somebody with not paying tuition, not paying for books, and all this and being on campus, you know what I'm saying, to learn something that you have learned. Why not get paid for something you've gone to school for 4 years, you know, and help somebody else? Counsel, do an online course, start a webinar, you know what I'm saying, get some podcast software and start it. You know, yo, listen, you got Zoom, you got this other, you got what? Zoom and some other software. I use StreamYard. StreamYard, I feel to be most liable for StreamYards and talking at videos as such. Yo, but your production is nothing compared to the value that you can give a person. You know, right now I have a online course. It's called How to Gain Your Inner Peace, because I've suffered with the opposite, you know. So how to gain your inner peace is something I want to share with somebody that might need it, you know, and I get paid for it. And it's doing quite well, you know. So listen, y'all, that's what I'm up here to tell you, that your value is better than the production, you know. If you got one curtain in the background that's covered with cardboard, you know what I'm saying, from the window, okay, fine, you know. But produce some type of value. Talk about something that's worthwhile listening to, you know. I'm here to tell you your value is so good that if you had no teeth, you know, and spots on your face, people won't care about that as long as you learn how to, you know, answer a problem or a specific question, you know, that would solve a specific problem, you know, and our problems, you know. So, but talk about stuff, like I said, you love over the stuff that you like. Because if no matter what you talk about out of the things that you love, you'll talk about it all day and go on and give nothing but value and not just have fluff, you know? And that's what it's all about. So I'm here to encourage you, stop listening and consuming all this other stuff on YouTube with a whole bunch of rules, when all you got to do at the very end of the day is be yourself long enough while it's not working until it work in your favor. You feel what I'm saying? You have to do it long enough while it's not working until you find a way to make the lane that's never been created work. You feel me? So listen, value is better than your equipment. You know, let me tell you, I got a lot of equipment, y'all. I got a lot of cameras. 9 times out of 10, I'm not even hooking those things up. I'm using a computer and I'm using my cordless, you know, come on. Because don't nobody have no time to be hooking all that stuff up, except the fact that you have stationary where you can keep it up all the time, you know? And see, that's how you can know I'm using my computer, because my computer is only 1080. I can't spruce up the shutter speed where you don't see any jitters. But yo, who cares about it when you're talking stuff that's right? Somebody need to hear, forget the rules of YouTube, but don't be disrespectful. Don't break the rules. But forget the rules. You feel what I'm saying? All right, that was an oxymoron. Let me say it again. You know what I'm saying? Utilize what you need and don't have a niche. But watch this. Talk about anything that you want, but don't be disrespectful, you know? And besides, there's so many people who are up here half naked doing this and doing that, and YouTube don't shut them down. I don't think YouTube is going to shut you down for being who you are, you know? So forget all of the crazy, oh, I got to be this, I got to be that. press record and start talking, champ and champette. That's all I'm saying. Have your bullet points or have some type of outline of what you want to say. You don't have to say what you want to say verbatim, but just if you say, I start the channel, that's what I'm talking about. Niche, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Don't have an ego. You know what I'm saying? Just have some bullet points and then start going in, you know? And I guarantee you, you will come out on top. And it's just August. And I'm going to say what I said last year. If I come on once a week live and still do videos once a week, you know what you could do? How about you go on live if you don't feel like having a pre-recorded and chop up your live, make it a pre-recorded video, put that part up, make it also a short, and have the live and say in your previous video or your pre-recorded video or a portion of the video that you made live, yo, I'm going on live. You know, check me out on the live section. I give you more value, you know? And I'm going to tell you, you know what's so good about YouTube, y'all? This is so dope. Oh, look, what's so good about YouTube is that if you get up on here, because you know people's attention span is crazy, you know, it's only about 6 seconds. So if you get up here and you say a fact and then talk about what you have to offer over that fact that people didn't know, you already grasped somebody's attention. And now go all in into the thing that you want to talk about and don't waste any time, you know? Don't nobody want to hear a topic or see a topic, right? And you're talking about your shirt or you're talking about your glasses or you're talking about your grandmother. Come on, Becky, what we talking about? Come on, Tom. Come on, Anthony. What we talking about, you know? And by the way, if your name is Anthony, I'm not really talking about you, you know? My voice is hoarse because I've been talking all week. I have something I got to do in the morning, you know what I'm saying? And I got to talk in the morning, you know? But at the same time, I just felt that I felt accomplished today. And by the way, let me tell you about this, right? I am deadly right now in the middle of cinematography, you know? And I have a channel called DF Films. If you don't mind, yo, go over there and check it out, you know? I'm helping new cinematographers and I'm showing them, yo, listen, what they don't have to be afraid of, you know? Have some knowledge about cinematography, and that's value, which is overproduction, you know? Yo, you can take your phone, your iPhone, your Android phone, your Motorola, whatever you got. Come on, y'all. You could do movies with that. You could do videos with that. You could do presentations, you know? And by the way, if you're up here, you know what I'm saying, and you know, you're in a live chat or whatever the case may be, let me know what you are inspired to do, you know? And if you don't, and listen, because sometimes you're not inspired to say the same things over and over or talk about the same thing. You have 10,000 different blood cells and 10,000 different thoughts that are going through in your mind that you say, hey, this makes sense. I think somebody needs to talk about this. Go up there and talk about it. Simple as that, you know? Simple as that, y'all. It's no biggie, you know? Simple as that, you know? And yeah, 550 subscribers right now is where I am. Didn't think I was going to get half of that, you know? No matter what I get in the views on this, so what? Keep leaving content. It's going to connect. But make sure that when you bring content, you're bringing a value of something somebody need to hear. You know, I oftentimes tell my friends, I tell my personal, you know, a circle, you can do something that somebody didn't like, right? You might apologize for it, but guess what? Your explanation is not the solution. If you learn how to bring solution over explanation, although you want to be empathetic and sympathetic about the explanation, but still bring a solution, people will follow you. I promise you, people will follow you. All right. With that being said, yo, this your boy Donald Francis, and my name don't mean nothing on here. This is No Niche channel. Catch you again next week. Once a week, I'll leave something, and I'm not leaving a day because it's no niche. You feel me? Until then, y'all. Till next time, sometime next week. Peace.